This is a video of what one of my horse trails looks like after a couple of years after I put it in. So this is probably maybe 3 years old or so. And so you get a sense of what I'm trying to achieve with that ultra mini excavator. I can put something in like this relatively quickly, and then it'll grow in, but it'll be totally horse passable and beautiful. This is the trail that I was working on yesterday and a little bit the day before. There was already a narrow walking path here, but here you can see I cleaned it up with the mini excavator and really made it horse friendly. In total, this trail is probably, I don't know, maybe 1,000 feet long, and I probably spent about maybe, I don't know, a total of 6 or 8 hours on it. Mostly for this lower section, I was just using the 12-inch bucket. And then for the upper section where it gets steep and I ran into glacial till, I was using the Ripper tooth. And so I'm gonna shoot a separate video of that. This is the area of that same trail where the slope gets quite steep going downhill and where I ran into glacial till. That's what this material is on the upslope side. And you can see the trail continuing down there. And so this is what I had to use a Ripper tooth to dig into. And just to show you how hard this material is, I brought a pick and I'm going to show you. I mean, this looks like you could just dig through it, but it's basically clay and cobbles that a glacier sat on for 20,000 years. So here, if I hit it with the pick, you'll see, I mean, some stuff comes out, but it's really quite hard. Obviously, I'm only doing this pick with one hand, but so this material I had to tear out using the Ripper tooth, and it put quite a bit of wear and tear on the Ripper tooth. I'll shoot a video of what the tip of the Ripper tooth looks like now. It must not be very hard steel. But I was really pleasantly surprised with how well the machine dug through this material. I mean, it took time, but I wanted a narrow trail, so I couldn't bring a bigger machine in. And in my experience, even my Bobcat 435, which is a 12,000 pound machine, it has a hell of a lot of trouble digging through this material. So it wouldn't necessarily have actually been all that much faster. All right, I'm gonna go take a picture of the Ripper tooth. This is what my Ripper tooth looks like after working on that glacial till. And you can see the tooth right there. Obviously, this was straight across before. I was digging going uphill, and so that's the side that wore. So yeah, it put quite a bit of wear on that for, probably 4 to 6 hours of ripping through glacial till. But I'm totally happy with it, and I can, weld a new piece on there if I need to. If you were ripping through roots and, slightly softer ground, I don't think it would wear anywhere near that badly. So this is my Ripper tooth that I used in order to tear into a bunch of glacial till on a horse trail that I was putting in. And you can see that after only about 6 hours of using it on glacial till, that the tip is very worn right here, right? That was obviously squared off originally. If I turn it to the side, yeah, you can see how worn that tip is. And so my plan is, because I have a bunch of these Bobcat teeth that I use on my bigger excavator, I'm gonna modify this point so that I can slip the tooth on and pin it, and then I can replace it. So it's gonna take a little bit of grinding on it in order to narrow down the sides so that it'll slide in. And then I'm probably going to have to modify the profile in order to sit into the socket pretty well. So I'll shoot a video after I'm done working on it. So here's the ripper tooth after I did some grinding on the sides. And you can see that now the Bobcat tooth slides on there, but there's a lot of play. So I'm going to weld on and build up these areas in here and then shape it. And the final goal is to have it look something like this. This is what the Bobcat tooth is designed to fit on. So here's the tooth after I did some buildup on it. You can see I added some filler weld. And then now I'm going to do some grinding on it to start to bring it back to the right shape. And I'll probably have to add a bit more material to thicken up the top portion. So we'll see. All right, I got the tooth support all ground down, and I drilled a hole for the pin. And so here you can see when the tooth goes on, it's relatively rigid. And then I'm going to drive a pin through the hole, and then I always weld it on the inside where it won't take wear. I never use those silly rubber-filled pins that Bobcat sells that always fall out. So I'll take one picture after I put the pin in and weld it. So here's what the ripper shank came out like with the Bobcat tooth set in place, and I've welded the pin in place. You can see the weld right there on top, and I welded on the bottom as well. I find this works a lot better than these silly Bobcat pins with the rubber piece in the middle. These things always just fall out and then you lose the teeth. So just welding it in place is easier, and then when I have to replace the tooth, I just blow out the weld with the oxyacetylene torch and then put on a new tooth and a new pin and weld that one in place. So I hope that helps people.